Good afternoon, folks in the Western Hemisphere. Good evening to those who speak English instead of American, and good evening to everyone on the other side of the planet. How's everybody doing? I'm Kurt Jr., host of the CoinGeek Weekly live stream, which is the show you're watching now, every Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you're watching live, please like, subscribe, hit the alert bell, and let your friends know that we are going to have a very special guest. Frankly, one of the most valuable men in Bitcoin. The camera follows me, so you get to see my head when I look down. So you're welcome, or I'm sorry, depending on your disposition. So everybody, if you check out my pinned tweet or my pinned post, I guess is what they're called on X now. We've been talking a lot about cat meat this week, and I'm pretty bullish on it because if the small blockers say it's valuable, I think it has to be, or they kill you. Luke Dash Jr. has resurrected his maybe earliest Bitcoin mining pool, or one of the very earliest Bitcoin mining pools, Elegius. It's the patron saint of gold and numismatics, or something like gold mining. I don't know. Kind of cute for a Catholic guy. Yeah, thanks, Alex. I see the commentary in the private chat. Much appreciated. Alex Moon on the keyboard today. So we can all bet that my sound levels and my makeup and everything will look wonderful. I'm actually a little warm today. I was out on my power walk, and it's like 85 degrees here in sunny South Florida. So I'm a little bit warm. And yeah. So excuse me. So anyways, check out my article. I talk about basically the launch of Ocean Pool, which is itself kind of a weird concept now that I say it. But yeah, basically it's a relaunch of the Elegius pool, which is like kind of the crappiest pool in the history of Bitcoin. They were known for specifically censoring transactions, getting themselves into all kinds of issues against Bitcoin Guild or BTC Guild, which was, I think, the biggest pool at the time. And Luke Dash Jr., who basically hates anything on the network that generates transactions, he's back now with the money of Jack Dorsey to see if they can censor ordinals from the BTC chain. So if you want to play with JPEGs, or if you want to save the cats, you're going to want to go ahead and not mine with Ocean Pool, and you're going to want to read the article that is pinned to my X and or Twitter profile, where I kind of go through the history and talk about sort of my thoughts on my censorship in general, but also Luke and Jack in specific, who are two of the most brutal censors in the history of, well, in Jack's case, basically humanity. I don't know if anybody's censored more total people than Jack Dorsey. And then Luke Dash Jr. really is the guy who, really started the Bitcoin Civil War in the Bitcoin space. So read the post. My guest today is going to be Mr. Xiaohui Lu. I probably am not saying that exactly right, but I also bet I say it better than most white guys. And we're going to talk about sCrypt and some of what's capable with the sCrypt smart contract language. We're going to talk about smart contracts in general on Bitcoin, but I also want to talk, he's been very supportive of what's going on in the one-sat ordinal space and using sats as tokens specifically, and some of the other cool stuff. He's also the San Francisco Bitcoin guy with Gavin Mail, who's making a case for himself to sort of join the COPA conversation. So we'll talk a little bit about COPA probably too, and anything else we want to talk about, because it's my show, everybody. So we have an ad, and it is about the CoinGeek conversation that will be had soon. I'm sure Alex is going to cut me off at some point with the ad. So just do it, Alex. Just cut me off right now. He gives me hands up. You bastard.
Hello, I'm at Block Dojo in London to meet the latest group of entrepreneurs to complete this incubator program for startups that are building their businesses on the BSV blockchain.
This week, I'll be finding out about new ideas to track the carbon emissions of ships, how to create payment apps more easily, and how to play Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu online. For more about all those exciting startups, join me, Charles Miller, for this week's CoinGeek Conversations.
What's up, Xiaohui?
Pretty good. I mean, we're not in the 80s, but close to 70s. So it's pretty warm here. So
that's
not like Chicago or Detroit anymore. So pretty good.
Yeah. All my old friends are sending me snow pics since Halloween. So very happy to not be there.
Yeah, me too.
So let's jump right in. I think the coolest stuff, in my opinion, because I'm a big fan of Ordinals, has been. I mean, you guys have been supportive of Ordinals publicly for a few months now. Released some tooling just in the last few days. You released a minting tool, if I recall, and a few other things. I'd love to hear. Maybe what was your first thought when you heard about Ordinals and how they work and stuff? Did you like the idea immediately, or did it take you some time to get there? And then I'd love to hear your thoughts on why you've been supportive with sCrypt of the Ordinals concept, please.
Yeah, glad to be on the show today. And Ordinals. So if you go back to our blog, I think you can find out the first article I published on Ordinals. I think it's February. So it's pretty early, if not the earliest in the space. At that time, to be honest, I'm always like a slow guy. I don't have the latest, iPhone, or I don't get Bitcoin in 2009 or anything. I think it took me a while. Just at that time, I thought it was another, incarnation of old color coin idea. But a lot of people are just pinning me, hey, what do you think of this? And what do you think? So instead of, replying everybody, independently, separately, I just say, hey, why don't we just write an article about this? Just educate myself. For me, I don't, I'm mostly in Bitcoin space, but I also keep my eye on everybody, in the blockchain space, so-called cool people. I want to find out. Yeah. I think we are the coolest, but occasionally I just, look over the fence and see what other people are doing. So sure, Ordinals, I want to understand what it's doing. So at that time, I just say, hey, this is how it works. And if you really want, you can port it over to BSV, which, I mean, it's like, I think I did some back of the envelope calculation. It's like 100,000 times cheaper. I don't even trust myself, but I have to ask somebody to double check my math. But turns out it checks out. So at that time, I just thought it was an interesting idea. And, I just want to see how it goes. But then later on, we have this one set Ordinal just pop up. I mean, thanks to a lot of cool people, David, Luke, and Zach, probably you also running the indexer. A little bit, we're using. Yeah. So I think that's how my Ordinal journey came out to be. I don't know if it's ever, somebody came out with an article and then read my article and then thought about it, or it was partially inspired by it. But anyway, I don't know the why or how one set came to be. Yeah. But then, I thought it was just, it's just doing non-fungible stuff, minting cat pictures, which is, good, but nothing revolutionary. But then later on, a lot of people come to me because they say, hey, do you have tokens? Do you have tokens? I mean, we, mostly for the past focus on the smart contract. To me, it's always, I think about this too as separate. Tokens represent some kind of like a real world assets, right? Tokenizing. Yep. And then the contracts control how it moves, the transfer, the ownership, right? It's like Bitcoin. You control how it moves, but it's not an asset itself, the contract. Right. It just controls it. So that's when I kind of did a study, look at all the available options, tokenize, round, STAS, and then Ordinals, right? And also I have the option to, build one, another. Sure, you can create your own for sure. I mean, it can always, So eventually, long story short, but I found out, hey, this is why I want it, because the number one reason is I read a long article about it. You can find out. It's called we support Ordinals. Is number one reason is compatible with sCrypt because conceptually it's on the SAT Satoshi, and the script is the sCrypt part. So these two are separate field, right? It's not like I want to, pick another token protocol and then because they have some script, whatever it is, pay to public hash. If you combine them together, it breaks, right? It's not like you can concatenate absolute script together. So that's the number one reason. I think a bunch of other reasons. It's just more popular. You got more active developer community, built around it. So since then, we released a lot of things. So for example, you talk about the inscription we just released, I think last weekend. It's just something very simple. I think a lot of people, they're saying, hey, I made my first ordinal using this website. So looks very simple because you just go there and connect to Panda wallet, just put a picture and there you go. You are on the blockchain right now. So it takes less than 1 minute.
Yeah, no, it's. I mean, that's what I liked about it too. A lot of the stuff I really liked. Run. I actually thought there was a lot of cool stuff going on with what was the other one called now? The one that was basically like the Ethereum style DEX on BSV, token swap, and they're like sensible tokens and all that. Like
sensible,
some of that, some of that was really novel, but ultimately not very scalable. But it's really nice to see kind of bringing it down a level and saying, okay, like let's just start fundamentally with sats and then build script on top of them. I remember you and I talking at, it was like a BSV Miami meetup or something. And you and I were talking, I think with Kevin Healy out on the balcony of wherever that was. Yeah. And we were talking about, what the ideal token protocol would look like. And I said, what, I bet if you were to just, it kind of erase our preconceived notions and start with just sCrypt and say, okay, how would we design one from scratch? And basically you explain to me that, like, well, yeah, you can use any script to define a token or an asset. Basically, you just have to standardize it and get people to use it. But I just think it's really interesting to see how some of the stuff is played out, because Run had so much buy-in and everybody was using it. Now it's basically there probably are still Run transactions going across the network, but they're very minimal compared to now millions of Ordinal transactions. I'd be curious, because I've asked a lot of people and I haven't asked you, what's your opinion on something like STAS, which I think was trying to also kind of come up with the same idea, like build it, low level on sats with their own script, but they have their own, I don't know if proprietary is the right word, but basically their own style of script to make their tokens lock and unlock and send. And I'm curious, like, what's your opinion? Do you think they both can survive and thrive together, or do you think everybody goes one direction or the other? What are your thoughts on STAS versus Ordinals, specifically on BSV?
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't have a crystal ball. I can check right now to see into the future. But as I said, the reason for me to sCrypt to support Ordinals, we don't, for us, we just want to give developers choices, right? So this is the first choice we have. And for Run and STAS token, as I explained at the beginning, the thing is they have their own script. Yeah. So in my mind, the tokens should be always just, if it's just some assets, there's no logic. It's like your Bitcoin or your phone, right? It's a thing, it's an asset, but then how do you control the money? That's in the smart contract. That's how I always think about it. And for one reason or not, just out of all the tokens out there, just Ordinal is the only fit right now. I mean, somebody, you talk about ideal tokens. I don't know if it's ever ideal. Maybe there's some, in 18 months, there's somebody come up with another, token. And if it's, people love it, and if it's compatible with us, we have no problem. We will support it. So for us, it's always not to choose, which is the best, because, we're not as smart as, let's say, BDCers. They always know what's best for the users, right? So for me, it's always to, I don't know who's best, because for you, I'm not, Dash Junior or anybody. I don't know. I just give people choice, right? So they figure out what is the best, for that specific use case. So that's also our philosophy. So that's why, we just keep releasing. We have this inscription side, but for people who may not know, that we also ordered for the Panda wallet. The reason it has Ordinals is because we added support for it. So both for the fungible and also for the NFT version. So we add that support. But the Panda, we thought about adding it to Sensilit.
Yep.
But because you only used to talk about Sensible, right? Right now, you probably know they're now mostly working on Unisat, and they're cashing in all the BTCs. So they're So
I'm sure they're having a good
out
time.
Of fund which is good for them. Congrats. It's so it's not the priority. So fortunately, it's almost the perfect time that an alternative, Panda pop up. I think we're at the right moment. It's almost,
and it's really nice too.
Yeah,
I want to get Dan on the show because I really like what he's done. Yeah,
and it's somehow, for whatever reason, I don't quite understand, but it's picking up momentum, and it's also unifying. You see all the different people, from different camps. They're all actively contributing to it. I think this is congrats to the Panda wallet, and it's now it is I would say the primary choice. If you are a developer, you want to just quickly run some kind of app on Bitcoin, that's the wallet I would recommend. Okay. Of course, some bias is also Ordinals compatible and also sCrypt compatible. So
sure. Well, makes sense to me. I want to cut to a couple questions, but briefly, you keep mentioning real world assets, like conceptually. Do you think that there's an innate strength to doing real world assets using sats, like building them on top of sats and using sCrypt to lock them, versus some of these other there's been a little bit of a dust up in the tokenized space, and this is something everybody's been talking about for years. Obviously, you can go buy Tether Gold or Pax Gold or whatever on ETH for years now too. But do you think there's something extra special about putting real world assets on top of sats using sCrypt that maybe people haven't thought about?
Yeah, I can think of a few big reasons. Number one, I think the biggest, I recently I also sent a tweet regarding this. It's working today. Okay, I don't know about you, but I always prefer something that works today rather than 18 months later. Okay, you can literally go there, mint your token, connect it, send it to any contract you want, and control it. You can put it in an atomic swap. You can put it in a ordinal lock. You can put it in a limited order. You can put it in a derivatives trading contract. You can do whatever you want today, and the code is right there. So I think I was on one of the spaces. I was not on, but then somebody pinged me, hey, you should check out this space. I think it's a Friday, last Friday, and some people were saying on the CoinGeek space, hey, people really should check out this example, because that's where the billion dollar company valuation can come from. I really, I'm not trying to hyperbolic, but that's the case I want. You want to, build a chain link. We have the open source Oracle for you over there. You want to build an on-chain exchange. We have the limited order. We have the, we also have lending. Whatever you want to do is right there. The code is there. You can use it for free. You don't have to ask me. Just take it and to run. I think that's one thing. The other is a lot of, I was a little bit technical reason is because, as I said again, the real world assets to me is, if you want to put it on a blockchain, it's just tokens. The tokens to me is, there should be no logic. There's no, the code with it. It's just some kind of assets. So which in our world is the tokens. So, and then how to control it? That's how I always view it. That's a contract, right? It's like Bitcoin. You want to put in a pay-to-public hash. You want to put in a multi-sig. You want to put an atomic swap. But these two are separate. So that the good thing is you can put the token, because in the real world, right, you have all kinds of arbitrary rules how some assets get transferred, right? Your title, your stock. Once you tokenize that, now everything is on chain. And then how do you define it? The rules is always using this, smart contract, which, unless you are writing raw script, but I would just prefer you use sCrypt.
Sure. That makes sense to me. Mr. Moon, let's start pulling up some of these questions here. It looks actually like we got a lot of people who are excited to talk to Mr. Liu here. What way do you think people could really utilize Ordinals more so than other token protocols? How do you envisage one sat being used? So I think you just went over a few things, but so in my mind, and I say this a lot, that everybody seems to want to financialize everything. It's like, hey, how can I collateralize a loan against, JPEGs or something like that, which is itself kind of novel, but is there anything past that, or is the answer basically everything?
It is just everything. It's like Craig said in the video from 2014, right?
Yeah.
It is literally everything. I'm not trying to be hyperbolic or something. It's just the way I think it is, right?
Yeah.
So, the Ordinals just came up. Is good. It's like always like perfect match for sCrypt, because right now you can actually put any kind of assets on chain, and then you can control it with arbitrary logic. Because again, always we talk about the Turing completeness. Even now the BTC guys are talking about it. Seems nobody questioned right now. For now, I don't know why, but seems they are now also on board. So which is good. They also take some inspiration.
Just took one anonymous small blocker to do it.
Very decentralized. Anyway, I think once you have this, you are pretty much doing everything. All the so-called other blockchains or crypto is doing, right? You can do in the financial side of things. We put up a few examples. You can have limit trade. You can have lending and borrowing. You can have, I wouldn't call it DEX, but some exchange that's more auditable and more trustworthy if you put a lot of data and even the logic on chain. So that's one benefit. But again, I said it's everything. So it's not a finance only. For example, I can think of, I don't know, I think 100 examples, right? For example, you mentioned my buddy Gavin Mayo. He talked about, hey, you have this hard lock thing. You're just locking some Bitcoin. Why not just use it to set up a trust, right? Because hey, for now you want to get a lawyer, you get all the paperwork. You have to pay him, I don't know, a few thousand or even at least a few hundred. Not cheap. And to give your kids some his money to go to a university. We can debate whether it's still worthwhile to go there if you really want to do it, right? Instead of hiring these lawyers, get all this paperwork, which feels like it's like the old way of doing things. Now you have this tool. You don't worry about the lawyer runs away or the custodian runs away. It's just Bitcoin. It's going to be there, and nobody can really spend the coin before your kid turns 18. So you can do this. You really replace the old paradigm things. Of course, this is just an idea, but it's solve the real world problem, right? Always make something cheaper, faster, and more efficient. That's what I think Bitcoin is able to do. So trust is one idea. The other idea, I think, is also somebody, we talk about, even think about, like, let's say DocuSign, right? A lot of time you use DocuSign. I usually, can they read my supposed confidential legal agreement? Ideally they should not, right? But that's what they're saying. But you don't know, right? But what if you build something? You just inscribe this legal contract. You can even encrypt it and put it in a set and put it on a chain, and then use a time lock to lock it. I don't know, for 15 years. Maybe that's what the law says. You have to keep the record. It's like the Bitcoin.org receipt, right? I hope, that they have it. But, imagine back then, if they have the hard lock, they could lock it in 2024, right? You can guarantee you have a copy, right? So that's a good use case.
It's your bonded courier is nlock time.
See? And nobody can change it, right? It's using technology to solve real world problem. You want to archive something, which by law you may have to save for a certain period of time, 15 years, 30 years mortgage. If putting a UTXO, lock it up. So you are not only lock coins, right? That's what hard lock is for. But thanks to Ordinals, you can inscribe anything to it. If you want to save it for a certain time, just put in a contract, however long you want, right? So there's tons of use cases. That's why we keep publishing all these good ideas. You know, we know the Bitcoin is like a gold rush. Somebody finds some gold in, American River in Sacramento, and everybody heard about it. But we are just here providing, hey, maybe, we some compass, hey, maybe there's some gold in, I don't know, like 50 miles downriver or something. That's why you think about our articles, it's just drop hints. That's where we think there might be gold. And then people come here, use sCrypt. It's like buying shovels and picks. They go out there and to strike gold. Okay.
For sure. Well, that's really been the exciting thing. There's been a lot of these sort of bits and pieces floating around and not used a lot. So like the Bitcoin schema stuff, for example, has been around for some of it 6 years, and like used a little bit, but not really. And then same kind of thing with like just price data oracles, and trying to drag data into Bitcoin somehow. And like a lot of people tried a lot of different ways to sort of publish information. And I think that's what's so exciting, is that Ordinals is so simple that it standardizes a really big piece of it that lets everybody say, oh, okay, well, if we build it on a SAT and we use the Ordinals protocol, and then we use sCrypt that's open, and then people also standardizing on things like Jungle Bus and the OneSat indexer and some of these other things that we're hosting, like all of a sudden we all kind of have like this standardized stack that kind of reminds me of the internet 20 years ago, where it's like, oh, okay, I guess we'll all just kind of go this direction. So it's been exciting to see just everybody working on things like HODL Locker and Panda Wallet and even the OneSat Ordinal protocol and stuff. Just kind of all has a lot of people that have just come up with ideas to make it better for everybody. And it's an attitude that I wasn't sure was going to come back to BSV, because it felt like it was gone for a little while. And it's exciting to see. So I'm pretty bullish on more good ideas showing up anyways.
Yeah, make Bitcoin development fun again. That's what I want to see.
Here's a question from Charlie. Monsieur Comey. Can someone use sCrypt with no coding knowledge and utilize the protocol and drag and drop logic into how a business would like to use your protocol?
I think you kind of can. I want to yes and no. I think not directly with the tools we offer, but I know for sure, Tao is building something like this. No coding, or let's say, or a low amount of coding. You can have some kind of like a templates that for a lot of common use cases, you can, in a simple UI, you can drag and drop. I think check out Tao Studio. I think maybe has been released or is going to be released. I think Tao is doing something similar. For example, you want to do some kind of like a, fundraising, crowdsourcing, or you want to do some type of, let's say, time lock, right? Because now everybody's trying to time lock. Even BitMax research is publishing out of nowhere.
I saw that today.
I don't know where that come from. It's probably not inspired by us, but the timing is suspicious. Anyway, I think you can have all these building blocks. If you for a lot of common usages, I think you can using our tools. For example, like what Tao is doing, or for any developer there, you can build such tools. It's all out there. You can wrap around our tools, Ordinals and sCrypt. We have a library for that, called the sCrypt Ordinal. It's free and it's open source. Just like the inscription. You can look at the simple examples. I don't think it will be too difficult to come up with something like this for, common use case, contracts plus tokens. You can literally drag and drop.
Yeah. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Zach Wiener also has his Alpha DApp company and his Magic DApp application that are also very simple, sort of drag and drop, put data on the blockchain, and also compliant in like the sort of ordinals and all that whole universe. And he's got a few interesting clients too. So I think announcements that he's working with like the Philadelphia Police Department to put data on chain and stuff like that. So pretty cool stuff. Here's one from Alex Vidal, another South Florida savage. how is BitVM trying to do smart contracts on BTC? Are they taking inspiration from sCrypt?
I think, yeah, at least partially. As last time I had this funny, I think civil exchange. I think hopefully it looks civil, with Super Testnet, one of the main developer behind the BitVM. I didn't even know this. He just DM me, say, hey, thanks for the work you put out there, and we take some ideas from there. I think it's definitely. I think it's, at least if that's one thing I would have to guess is is this all this misconception out there, right? Bitcoin is for digital gold, store value, and Ethereum is doing smart contract. I think if that's one message I want to get across the whole space, with BSV and not BTC, it's just, hey, you have this smart contract. Bitcoin can do smart contract from day one. It's not something we added or we restored or re-enabled in Genesis or something. I think this is to a lot of people, this is like shocking. It's like tell some people, hey, the Earth revolves the sun, I don't know, 1,000 years ago. It's just shocking, because just people simply, a lot of time it's not, I don't think it's malicious or something. It's just they simply don't know. So I would encourage
ignorance. No, I agree.
people, just show them, and and try not to dump on them. I would say some people in this community want to, I'm like always, hey, this guy just got hooked on sCrypt, and now he's maybe repeal, and then a bunch of people just trying to dump on him. I was try, hey guys, if you're from whatever other camps, if you want to just poke around and see the code and test it, see for yourself, broadcast some transactions, hey, I don't care where you come from, just let's be more welcoming. Let's not to be, I mean, everybody's tribal, but let's not try to scale up new people away. Just be,
for sure,
as you said, right, be kind to each other.
Right. No, exactly. Well, and that's the thing, like, yes, we're competing, but I don't wish anybody harm or anything. And I feel like that's, they seem, I mean, I definitely have people wish me harm. So it's unfortunate, but it just kind of makes me feel like, oh, okay, well, like, I guess they see me as dangerous or my ideas or something. But what do you think about? Go ahead.
That means you're on the right direction, right? If you're doing something nobody cares, I'm not saying it's definitely not working, but it's
it's not a good sign.
It's not getting, if you don't have enemy, that's probably something you're not working on the important things. That's one thing.
Right. No, for sure. I like that. Well, how do you think? I mean, my idea is, well, you show everybody how to do it. Like, people come to BSV, people want to work with us, that kind of thing. What do you think the risk is that people just take our ideas or continue to take our ideas and just move them over to BTC? Like, what if, can BTC have a cultural shift where they raise the block size limit and get rid of a bunch of script limits and those kind of things? Like, do you think that's possible? And if it's possible, is that a net good, or, I mean, or does it just dilute BSV? I guess it would be a good thing because BTC would then look like BSV, and that's a win. But what do you think? Like, what is your response to that happening?
Yeah, I think first of all, yes, it's technically doable, right? Because there's nothing, the code is, I mean, at least that code is not locking, stone, right? Set in stone. I mean, they can change it whatever way they want, right? I mean, technically, it's definitely possible. They can enable OpCat tomorrow, or they can, raise the block size to, I don't know, to a scary 4 megabytes or 8 megabytes, or 22. You imagine those days? Remember those days? It would definitely break. 22 megabytes, scary.
Right.
And
Trust
now we are coming
science.
out for yes, it's settled. So good old days. Anyway, I think it's technically definitely possible. But it's like, now we have this iPhone moment, Steve Jobs just released this new thing, which is like what I feel in Bitcoin these days. And a lot other people are stuck kind of in, BlackBerry or Nokia. I mean, it's possible in theory, but a lot of time, right? It's like, if you're in any kind of like involves, thousands of people, if not even more, it's it's very hard, if not impossible, to let's say turn the ship, because it's already have the momentum, right? You got digital gold narrative, you got everybody run your own node. I'm not saying it's impossible. It'll be a very hard pill to swallow. And then if you're, let's say you're outsider, right? You look at these two competing chains. If BTC suddenly switches and then copy everything we have, and then people will say, hey, why do I have to follow this guy who's, I don't know, 4 years or 5 years behind? Why not just jump into the other guy, the other chain, which is already have been doing, data on chain, smart contract, Turing completeness, tokens, everything, they just find out. It's almost like sometimes I think I'm maybe drinking some Kool-Aid, but it feels like we have hey, this is not something new, right? It's like watching some kids and doing some elementary school math, and then people think, oh, this is great. I mean, we have been doing calculus for, I don't know, 4 years, 5 years. So it's just fascinating to watch, but it's good. I mean, they are kind of catching up, I think.
Well, and they have smart people there too, and it'd be good if they became frustrated where they are and decided to come our direction. But like to your example, it's a little bit like, if you're a professional sports recruiter or something, and like 90% of your best athletes all come from 3 schools, like you're going to spend more time going to those 3 schools. And that's kind of how I feel like BSV, we're the people with the innovative ideas here in UTXO blockchain scaling. So I don't know. It's just crazy. It's crazy to watch how that's all played out.
Let's not attack each other. Let's just compete, right? It's like, I mean, you play GG2. It's like, I mean, competition, right? We don't have to be always attacking each other. It's just a lot of times. It's just you want to win the respect even from your enemies, your opponents. You just beat them on the field, right? Using their own rules. I think that's the best. Own them. Yes.
Yeah, love it. Mr. Moon, let's pull up another few from Erlich Bachman. Can you tell us why Bitcoin is the exchange?
I think I'm not the best guy, but I can have. I think this is based on the article. If I remember correctly, it's Josh was CoinGeek with the same article with the same title. I think he's. I think so. Yeah, talk about a few examples we put out there, especially the limiting order. So before we have the order lock for some kind of, you can put some open order on chain, and anybody who wants to take the order, they can trustlessly execute it, right? I think that my idea there is to extend this. So instead of taking the full order, it's like exchange placing limit order. You can fill it partially, right? So that gets us closer to a real exchange. I mean, order book kind of thing. But you can take the similar idea and then, hey, instead of running all these exchanges, which I mean may or may not is doing fishy things, under the hood, you don't know, right? And I think regulation has not been catching up. I mean, it's kind of beginning to catch up, but it's not as regulated as, let's say,
it's always going to be slow,
NASDAQ or New York Stock Exchange, right? But before that, we get there. If you want to have some kind of exchange which is more trustless, with trust that people can depend on, you can put a lot of information, right? Even logic onto the blockchain, so people can see, hey, is this my order? Is this actually the guy who's matching my order? Then you can avoid a lot of trust issues. I think which is the biggest issues, right? If you're using any kind of so-called centralized exchange, I wouldn't call it a DAX, but it just add more auditability and transparency, which is alleviate, right? So if I have 2 exchanges, it gives me the same user experience, but one is I can check it, independently verified things on chain. I would rather use, the one, who's more transparent, right?
Right.
So I'm not saying you should build exchange. Everything should be on Bitcoin today. I'm just saying it's a tool that you can use. If you ever have some kind of exchange, make it more trustworthy, so people can trust to use it.
I think it would be really interesting. Limit orders and stuff on chain are really cool, But I think unless we have like a universal stable coin that's on network, it's a little bit like what are you using the limit order? Like, have you executed some? Presumably, you've executed some test orders. What are you trading between when you're testing these?
Oh, for us, it's always working code, and you can download and try everything yourself, and you can broadcast transactions on chain. So what we did examples there is, you can exchange Bitcoin with, surprise, ordinal tokens, because the tokens can represent anything. Then you can trade, right? You can buy and sell. Right? So that's what example we show there, using Bitcoin to buy or, or you sell your ordinal tokens. But you can also, trade your one, ordinal token with the other one, right? You have, I don't know, Audi. Then you can trade it with PayPay if you want. I don't know why people do it, but you can, right? So right now, because tokens, you can represent any real world assets, right? Even, for example, the fiat money, right? If you can have that representation, then this scheme can apply to any pair you can trade.
Right. Interesting. Speaking of which, how familiar are you with like MakerDAO and DAI, like algorithmic stablecoin? Is that something that we could replicate? Presumably with sCrypt, because they're Ethereum contract based. So presumably somebody could run that through your transpiler and tighten that up. Have you taken a look at any of those kind of things?
Yes. Everything, what other guys are doing. If I'm not, 100%, I think at least I know like 60%, I would say, that I'll make a DAO or Aave or Compound, whatever the latest DeFi people. At least, I'm not religious about Bitcoin. It's the technology, so I always, poke around to see what other people are doing over the fences to just see what they're working on. I think in theory it makes sense. If you have using technology to make a lot of these financial instruments more transparent, more efficient, right? I think that's definitely makes sense. So actually, I think I'm probably not going to talk in detail, but has anybody heard about this Tokenovate project?
That's Richard. Yeah.
Yes. So for anybody who's interested, have not heard about this is the most ambitious project in the Bitcoin space today, or in the whole blockchain space. Basically, it's going to, put the entire derivatives trading market onto the Bitcoin blockchain using tokens and smart contract. And you probably have guessed, using Ordinals plus sCrypt. So if you look at the market for derivatives trading, I think it ranges anywhere from $200 to $600 trillion. I mean, notional value. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's a T, not a B. Okay. So definitely check it out. I think it makes sense to, we're not trying to be our own bank, but we can make a lot of the banking more efficient or trading.
Yes.
Right? I think that's where the real value, how this brings real world assets onto the blockchain, and then make the real world of these exchanges more efficient. I think that's why I have some issue with the DeFi. I never, understand it, because to me it's a zero sum, right? It's a closed system. It's like energy gets in, and there's no sound, in the solar system. Then because long as time goes by, we know physics, entropy always takes over in the end, So it's zero sum. But with this kind of, let's say, Tokenovate, or even lending platform or whatever, if you can, the only reason you can survive in the long term and brings value is it makes real world more efficient, cheaper, faster. It's like any other industry, right? There's no getaway. It's not like we are trading jetpacks and everybody's rich. I think that's just not the way I see it. It's good to find experiment to run, because any technology, you will always have.
I like the JPEGs. I am also critical, but I also like them.
You could see it, right? If somebody, let's say Craig signs some napkin, or spill some coffee or some paper, I would take a picture of that, and it could be more valuable than just me taking some random picture, right? So it makes sense. But to bring it to mainstream, I'm saying the billions of users. I think there's we want to connect it with a so-called off-chain world.
Love it. Let's do another question, Mr. Moon. We've got about 12 minutes left, which always these shows feel so fast. Why are there so many different token protocols? Do you think we will have one main one? So I'll start here. I think there will always be lots of little ones in lots of niches. And I think that 95% of people will use one. Like basically everybody will use the main one because network effect. But then there will always be like proprietary tokens and stuff too. But what do you think, Xiaohui?
I think that's also my prediction. If I ever want to make into the future, it was always would be like a long-tailed effect. Right? It's never going to be, even Ethereum, right? You look at Ethereum, they have some dominant ones like ERC20, ERC70, 721 for non-fungible, but they also have a lot of other, let's say, security token standards, because you always have case where you want to customize. It's never going to be one fits all, I think. But again, it's like every other industry, right? Look at social media. You have like, I don't know, a few hundred, even thousands of social networks, but most people are on the top, I don't know, 5, right? Or like a mining pool, right? You always have some small mining pool out there, but it's just the top 3 may take over 90%. Right? So in that sense, that's a good argument for people who always criticize us being centralized. You can say, hey, look at the token protocols, right? It's like 11, 12, or even 18 today, right? So that's not quite centralized,
Yeah, I like that.
But of course, people choice and let them decide which one. Just we don't have to, fight over it over Twitter. Just ship some working code and let people choose. I think that's our philosophy.
Yeah, I like that. Let's do another one, Mr. Moon. Future Man, please ask him about the lock to mint protocol, LRC20. What do you think of the new paradigm of locking?
Okay, to be honest, LRC20, that's the first time I heard about it over some spaces yesterday. So I don't know exactly what it is, but looks like something, close to BRC20, but instead of, fail to launch, everybody can just use send some transaction to mint. You have to lock some coin to mint it. The only thing I'm not quite sure, can somebody in the audience educate me? Does this involve, smart contract, or you are trusting the issuer? Because when you say you lock up some tokens, is this how do you know somebody lock up some coins, lock up some tokens? Yeah, if somebody has a link, I literally heard it yesterday, and seems a lot of people are talking about it.
Yeah,
I'm not up to date.
Yeah,
so
Joshua,
I would love to. Yeah,
Joshua sent me a link and said, "Hey, mint some HODL token. It's an LRC20," and I didn't know what the heck he was talking about. But just mint it. HODL token. I did.
Okay.
So, well, and it was interesting too, because I didn't know what to expect. I even said, like, do I need to use do I need an LRC compatible wallet? Like, he's no, just an Ordinals address is fine. And so I did. I minted it. So I get HODL token by minting, and it locked it up for, I think it was 52,000 blocks or something like that. But it sent me back my BSV to the sending wallet, and then presumably those coins are now locked. So it gave me my BSV back, but they are now locked, and I can't respend them. So it's like forced savings with HODL token. I was like, okay, that's cute. I like it, but I don't know what I don't know about it. But presumably it's just like any of the other HODL lock, HODLlocker.com sort of contract stuff.
Yeah, just if people are interested, we have an article about this. Okay, so as I said, there are 2 ways to check, right? You have to check whether somebody actually lock up some coins, right? Maybe to some blockhead. So one way to do it, you trust, whatever the website says, right? But if you really want to do it the coolest way, or maybe it's already done in this way, you can use the smart contract to control. Nobody can cheat because the contract can enforce. You can only mint new tokens, and to a certain amount, if you lock a certain amount of coins into certain block future. You check out,
Yep.
We have a few examples. Use BSV20. You can combine with smart contract, which I don't think you can do it anywhere else, by the way. I think that's also shows the power, right? Because people always ask, hey, why do you choose sCrypt Ordinal? Because it does everything every other tech solution can do, and we'll do a lot of things that's not available anywhere else, right? I don't know about you. So if you like a customer, if you have two things, one can do everything everybody can do, and do a few things, a lot of things nobody else can do. I think that's at least technically
easy.
better. Okay, seems easy. Yes.
Yep. Next question, Mr. Moon. And we've got 6.5 minutes left. I know a few people who are interested in fractionalized real estate. Is anyone working on that in the BSV ecosystem? I don't know if I've heard anybody talk about fractionalized real estate. I hear a lot of ETH people talking about it, but do we have anybody doing fractionalized real estate that you know of?
I heard some people pitch me this idea when I was in London last time. I think they're from Cyprus, yes, but I'm not sure what's the status. Basically, they have some real estate. For whatever reason, they want to fractionalize it, and they were asking around, and I've not heard them since then. But to credit where credit's due, I first heard about this idea from Craig, right? Because if you look at some of the old videos, he's saying, "Hey, why do you need to even own a car, right? Because the car. I look at my car in my garage right now, it's not driving itself, right? It most of the time is just sitting idle in some parking lot or garage, right? The thing about he talked about this future vision. You don't have to own. I mean, of course, you are not like a WEF kind of a own nothing thing, but you still you own things, but in a fraction way, you are sharing a lot of things, because a lot of things can be shared, right? For example, cars, right? You just need some way of transportation. So real estate, I think he also talked about it. I think you, instead of owning a big house in London, you can just to diversify, right? 10% of a house in Florida,
right?
20% in Tokyo. It makes sense to me. I think people are having this idea. If people want to do this, the technology is there. Just go ahead. That'd be great.
You just need the business model. Next question, Reed McGrew. Okay. Why did BTC change the original Bitcoin protocol? Were the changes designed to somehow drive up the price of BTC? I'll take this one. I think a lot of it was ignorance early, like just not a lot of people were paying a lot of attention. And I think even the core devs said it publicly. Like Satoshi kind of disappeared without explaining what a lot of things do in Bitcoin. And so from a security standpoint, I think a lot of them said like, man, I think it would be wise for us to just not allow this thing to just execute like all this stuff that can be done. And so they just put a lot of limits on things. And I think a lot of them were pretty clear at the time, like we can loosen this up once we get more familiar with the system. But then over time, like more and more malicious people sort of arrived and turned it into like, okay, we don't need any of that stuff. Bitcoin's digital gold. And, then you get money and power involved. And I think that's what really changed things. But that's just my take. What do you think, Xiaohui?
Yeah, I think definitely that plays a part. But I could also see, other parts which, doesn't have to involve conspiracy theory or, malicious intentions. It's just, I'm a developer myself. Whenever I take somebody else's code, I just want to, hey, sure, I'm smarter, right? I want to change it, make it better, right? Whether it's actually better, replaced by fee, Segway, Taproot, whether it's actually making better, that's another, talk. But I make my name, right? Whenever I talk about Greg Maxwell, oh, he invented this and then he fixed the Bitcoin, right? It's just a mentality for developers. They just want to, change things, improve things. It may not be even malicious. You talk to anybody who's taking some existing code base, you can always improve it in a certain way, you know.
Sure. No, that makes sense.
So,
any closing thoughts, or Alex, do we have any more questions that are pressing, or should we okay, we're getting the no. All right, man. I would love to have you come out to Florida sometime soon, have a hangout, meetup, whatever. So maybe shoot me a DM on that front. What else should people be paying attention to? Where can we learn more? What do you think people should be doing with their time?
Yeah, always, you know, just building something. I think that's you know, if you're like a builder, build something. If you're not good at building, you can think of other ways to, you know, you can promote it. You can have this, have your, you know, articles, let people know. You can, anybody have some way to contribute. I think that's, you know, to me is, you know, I look at all this drama thing, you know, it's to me is think about, I'm like, sometimes I maybe a little bit too, you know, let's say, you know, autistic. For me, most of the time I'm just studying and researching. I'm like a monk in some Tibet cave, you know, it's like isolated, you know. I should go out and talk to real people more, you know. But sometimes I just wish, hey, this thing has not succeeded yet. We just need to do the hard work, you know. There's no wait. I mean,
for sure,
Craig can win his case, it'd be better. But if he doesn't win, or even he wins, right? Let's say he wins, and now we become, you know, the real Bitcoin and pump to, let's say, 40,000 overnight.
Yeah.
But then the question is, then what, right? Then there's no app. There's no real use case. We are the new BTC, right? So the way I think about it is always at the end of the day, you still need killer applications. So that's why we just give me all the tools. You know, you go out and tinkering with, you know, whatever you can log to mint, trade JPEGs or whatever you can have on-chain trust exchange. Just tinker with all these ideas. I think that's how I see this technology. It's like iPhone, right? Or, you know, internet. When first came out, people really don't know what to do with it. It's like somebody put a radio on the internet. You know, we all remember the Bill Gates interview, right? So why do you want to listen to radio on the internet? I can listen in my car, right? Well, why do you want to do it? But then you cannot, you know, record it. You cannot pause it. You can, basically, Bitcoin has these unique features. So think about how to leverage it. You know, micropayment, tokens, smart contract. I don't think this is something, as far as I know, you cannot do it with, let's say, you know, MasterCard or, you know, Visa. As far as I know, right? You may do payment, but it's not micropayment. They don't do tokens. They don't do smart contracts. So combine all this, use these unique capabilities. Think about ways how they can, you know, solve real world problems. Not only for crypto people. I think that's, and then grab all the code and tinker with it. We don't know where we are going. I don't know what the killer apps will be, but I would bet it's something, you know, I think we'll use our tools. And it will be, when it came out, people will say, hey, this is like simple idea. Why haven't I come out with it? It's like, hey, can you just...
Wasn't this obvious?
This is obvious. Always obvious in retrospect. So I would encourage people just, you know, if you know somebody who can build, just, hey, show them our tools, Ordinals, whatnot, all this. Just have them tinker around it. It's like iPhone, right? When iPhone first came out, I think it takes, 2 years for some kind of killer app, you know. Angular, or 3 years for Instagram, WhatsApp to take off. But before that, that's maybe like 1 million apps that have failed, but nobody heard of. But this is still valuable, right? Because you learn the lessons. Hey, you know, I don't know about you, but you probably don't want to carry your desktop to take pictures and upload to the cloud. Right? It's just the phone makes sense. And also Google Maps, right? It just use some features. It's a new computing platform, has unique features, and use this feature to think about how to solve real world problem. It's okay. It's kind of like a primitive at the beginning, which is like all these technologies are, right? I don't think it's just people just build, you know, Angry Bird the next day, you know, Steve Jobs release it. It takes a while, but the tools, we have the tools, you know, it's like Xcode and SDKs, all these tools right now. Just welcome. I think it's probably some kid in some basement. He's just, you know, tinkering with it, which we don't know who. And He's probably coming up with the next $1 billion idea. That's how I see it.
Yeah.
If I have to bet, that's the way it succeed. You know, regardless whether Craig wins or whatever. I think a lot of people have the impression, especially outside of the space, which is kind of funny, by the way. You think, oh, if Craig loses, and then do all the smart contracts start working tomorrow, or the blocks stopping? I think they got. I got that sense somehow. It's dependent.
I get asked that a lot lately. Like, well, when Craig it's the when Craig loses from a lot of people. Like, BSV's dead, and I just say, like, I mean, I'll still be mining blocks. So I don't know about the rest of you, but it to me is a good sight. It's like drama to watch, but I don't. You may watch Game of Thrones, but we don't decide whether what to next to work on based on the outcome. The season finale of it's good drama to watch. Sometimes, to be honest, I kind of enjoy it because otherwise, I don't know, like, it's kind of boring. Then you got a little bit of drama, but you got some balance. It cannot be always. At the end of the day, as I said, even Craig wins, we pump to 1 million per coins. But if there's no traffic, there's no use case to support it. It still collapse, right? So why not just go straight to the end and just build things using all the excellent tools, which is, by the way, is getting better every single day. We're working every single day to get the feedback and to put out there for people to use, to try it. I think a lot of times, we are probably beyond the case, we can debate and we can argue, but for my way is always, just show people some working app or code and then people take from there. It's just fun. Just for me, it's just more, convincing. I don't think BTC people or BitVM people come here, because of some argument, right? I think it's just say, hey, this code seems to work, and I just checked this transaction is on chain, so end of story. Right. So, yeah, for sure. Love it, man. Well, thanks for coming on the show. It's good to catch up. Yeah, looking forward to talking again soon.
Okay, soon. Okay, enjoy the rest of the day. Okay, everyone.
You too.
See you next time. Bye.
Bye-bye. So everybody, Xiaohui Liu, sCrypt, .io, if you want to check out what he's up to. Use the contracts. Stuff is open and ready to play with, so go build something cool. We're a little bit over time, so I'm going to wrap quickly. I'm Kurt Wicker Jr. Going to be doing a couple more shows this year. We're coming up on Christmas, so we'll probably have like an ensemble show and some kind of a fun end of year thing. So stay tuned for announcements, and make sure you like, subscribe, hit the alert bell, all that stuff, so you know every time we go live on CoinGeek channels. And a reminder, go read about the history of farmed cat meat by reading my pinned tweet on X today. So thanks again, Alex Moon, who was not likely eating cat meat, but was making probably a gourmet meal that he ate while producing the show, as he does. And anybody else? Who else deserves thanks? I'm sure a lot of people deserve thanks, but I'm not going to start that right now. So be good to each other, and go enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. Go do something valuable. I will see you soon. Goodbye.
Hello, I'm at Block Dojo in London to meet the latest group of entrepreneurs to complete this incubator program for startups that are building their businesses on the BSV blockchain.
This week, I'll be finding out about new ideas to track the carbon emissions of ships, how to create payment apps more easily, and how to play Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu online. For more about all those exciting startups, join me, Charles Miller, for this week's CoinGeek Conversations.